everybody, welcome back. It is that time again. It is time for America's Got Talent. Yay! So last week's was really awesome. I do love the audition periods. We saw some really great acts in Tape Face Boy and Hada and oh god, what was the other one I really liked? Poop. There was another one I really liked. But anyways, there was some really great stuff. There was some really crappy stuff with, the people sticking shit in their nose and all that. And some crazy dancing and all that. And then there was the opera girl and all that cool stuff. So, good times. Simon has softened up, at least what they're showing. Maybe they're just showing the good stuff, but it's very enjoyable. I do kind of miss Howard, but, it's early, and Simon's doing a good enough job for me, so I can quite enjoy it. So, it's, unfortunately, I'm watching on a delay, and Mike and Molly, what the fuck? New. Mike and Mary, we didn't get to watch it again today. She had yard stuff going on, and Mike had work, and then I just had all this stuff and dealing with slow internet today, so. But it's like 12:30 in the morning, and I'm about to go watch it and make my notes, and then I'll shoot my actual thoughts video tomorrow, because I do actually make notes, so I should be able to remember, hopefully, but it's late enough I'm gonna have a drink while I'm watching, so hopefully those notes will be legible, but we will see. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna shut up and get to it, so ready? Let's watch. Okay, so there you have it. That was a really, really good show, particularly the end. I'm excited to talk about the end, but but I don't want to jump the gun. So, like I did last week, I think that worked out pretty well. I'm going to go act by act and just tell you kind of my thoughts on it. Okay, so first up we had the Mom and Son dance team, Alla and Daniel. When they first come out, I'm like, oh god, please don't be creepy. Please don't be creepy. It could be so creepy. Actually, it wasn't very creepy. The ending pose was maybe a tiny bit creepy, but other than that, it was actually quite impressive. The kid is actually pretty charming, and he was pretty funny, I thought, like when they asked about, are you married? And the kid's like, no. So, I thought all that stuff was pretty funny. Then he took off his jacket and had his name bedazzled across the back. I thought that was cool too. So at the end of the day, I thought they were actually a pretty charming duo. I don't know if it's something I want to watch all the time or would want to watch more really than just that one performance. So for me, they're not really going far, but we'll see. Maybe they'll do something more interesting and change my mind. I do like when they got off stage too. It was brief, but Nick Cannon did the damn Daniel, and I'm like, I don't know if the kid's gonna get that, but still I thought it was kind of cute and charming. So I thought that was pretty fun. So next up was Jonathan Nosen, a contortionist or contorturist, as his Twitter name says. You weren't sure what he was gonna be when he came out. As like comedian, maybe? What's going on? I don't know. He's wearing the yarmulke and the whole thing, and then he starts doing his act, and Nick Cannon's faces, all of our faces, they're just like, ugh! And Howie's lack for words, like, it's like, yeah, what do you say? Because actually, it's really impressive, if not bizarre and creepy. If he can bend the other way, I'm not sure why he'd ever leave the house. Wink. Sorry, I know maybe a little gross, but I'm a little gross. Well, a little gross, yeah, right. But yeah, so most impressive part of that was he also did all of that in a suit, a full suit. So, I thought that was actually quite impressive too. Again, an act that was, I was worth seeing that time. I don't know what he could do with it to make it sustainable. He's gonna need to bring in a lot of interesting production elements. I don't know, maybe fire juggling or something. I don't know. I don't know how you could really keep improving and make that into a bigger and bigger thing. Simon even asked him that at the end, and he just kind of gave a vague answer about, I'll bring it, or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. I don't think he's going to last very long, just because of the sustainability of his act. And again, just my opinions. Could totally be wrong, but it's what I'm thinking right now. So next up, we had musicality, sob story act from Chicago. And I start hearing the sob story, I'm like, boring. Just because, it's about your talent for me. I don't really care about your story usually, although I say that and I'll have something to say at the end, hopefully, if I'm ready to say it. But overall, I thought, the big guy was kind of charming and all that, and then, it started getting kind of interesting, but then they started singing, and it was actually really, really good. I'd like to see more movement and production value in the future. I also think it would have been, for me, I would have liked it more if maybe fewer of the kids actually played instruments, so they could play live music instead of a backing track. But if they come from a rough neighborhood, which often means poor neighborhood, I can see maybe there's a thing about not having instruments and stuff, because if some of those kids were half as talented on instruments, though, as they are at singing, then that could be even more impressive. But I'm sure they'll get to play with a live band in the future. Also a little surprised because, I thought Simon Cowell is supposed to make people cry with bad words, not uplifting ones, so I thought that was kind of cool. And I do have to admit, by the end of the whole thing, they charmed me. They They like overwhelmed me with their charm, and I greatly enjoyed it, and I do look forward to more and seeing them get to work with a budget and actually put on these big productions. I think that should be a lot of fun. And then we had some of those little in-between bits, and I was dying. I was laughing out loud at the whole thing with Howie putting on Mel B's eyelashes to be more European looking and stuff. So that's just one of those things. I'm like, what? And I was drinking, obviously, but I held off, so I was mostly sober through all of this, so it was just legitimately funny. It wasn't the alcohol making it funny, but I liked that. So then we had the twin ballerinas, Florence and Miss Olga. You know, and again, it's one of those acts at first you're like, okay, are they just gonna do ballet? Are they just gonna do ballet? But then they get into their whole shtick of kind of beating each other up with their dance moves, which I thought is pretty awesome. Again, not a sustainable act. I mean, maybe there's more they could do in the future that's different from that, but I was really enjoying that. Then I got a little off-put because the song changed, and I thought, wait, did they change the song or did production change the song? Obviously, the show re-edited and changed the music to shrink the thing down. So I don't know if they did that whole act to kind of the classical music or not, but it's interesting that the show chose to do that way. Again, not surprised they didn't go through, although they didn't clarify if they did or did not go through, but I have a feeling they didn't, just because, again, it's kind of a strange act, and once the joke has happened, you can't really repeat that joke of, oh, here are these straight up ballerinas, because it's only funny really in the beginning, and then, I don't know, they didn't show me the whole thing, so I don't know, but from what I saw, I don't think it would continue to be funny. Another little brief thing was the fake karate guys. I didn't catch their name, but it seemed like that could have been kind of cute. I mean, not for the show to go forward, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of their act. I've seen stuff like that before, and it's usually pretty funny. The whole serious, I'm a karate guy, but I'm not really good, and all that kind of stuff, so that could have been fun, but again, not an original act, but so I understand why they didn't go through, but I would like to have seen a little bit more of that. And then Violin Monster. Violin Monster? Really? Oh my god. Yeah. Bye-bye. And then we had the laughter coach, Tita. Incredibly charming lady, and her laugh is infectious, laughter is infectious. But yeah, I could see, kind of like Heidi said, it's funny for 2 minutes, then it gets really annoying. I'm like, yeah, that could get really old really fast. I don't know, seeing a laughter coach, why she thought that would be an act, a talent act. It's a very, very odd thing, but she seemed like an odd lady, but a lovable odd lady who's got really good spirits, so you can't really be too down on her. It was bizarre seeing the whole theater kind of laughing in each other's faces, though. It was reminding me like one of those bad cartoons or movies where, the whole audience is having like laughing gas pumped in as a ploy for a distraction while someone's pulling off a heist in the back. So I just thought, just for that, it was kind of cool all by itself. But yeah, not surprised she didn't go through. And I guess they felt okay Xing the hell out of her because she was just laughing through it all anyways, which it really is a great way to live life, because I mean, what are you gonna do, You really don't have much control, so you just gotta laugh it off and move on. But yeah, so that was interesting. Okay, and I just gotta take a moment to say, Simon's son is so adorable. So totes adorable, dude. That kid is cute, and not just because his name is Eric either, but, because all Eric kids are cute. Even Eric adults are cute. Okay, so next up we had the Edgar family band. Overall, I thought they were pretty good. I'm not sure they were great. I feel like I need to see another performance before I can really figure out where I stand with them. Simon really liked the daughter's voice the most. I thought it was the least interesting. The whole teen mom thing is kind of interesting, I guess. The dad looks like he could be the teen dad of the teen mom. Also, I don't think he's the biological father. I think they kind of slipped that in there, so I'm curious about that. So I actually am interested in their story a little bit further. I do love that song, I'll Stand By You. So again, I don't know if it was their performance or the song, but that made it enjoyable. But I mean, again, they're not bad by any means. It's just I don't know how great they are. Also, they're not super tight, like they were all starting their words a little off and all that, so maybe a little more rehearsal, I don't know. Maybe they're just more used to doing originals or something, but how can it go? I'm really picky about musical acts, so I get a little more harsh on them, but I'll be anxious to see where it goes in the future. All right, then we had Gary Sladek, eldest hand balancer alive. I'd have to Google that and see if it's true, but at first I'm like, oh, okay, this is boring. He's wearing a silly 70s outfit, but I did kind of like his 70s dance style presentation thing. His brother was really charming, especially near the end when they talked about his 70s outfit and he comes out and puts his leather jacket on him and spins away theatrically. Thought that was pretty cool. Kind of reminded me of the guy who was bouncing on ladders last year. But then, I thought, he's just doing more balancing act. Not really my cup of tea. But I got to admit, when he really got up there, it did actually start getting a bit nerve-wracking and did kind of have me on the edge of my seat a little bit. So I did actually end up enjoying it. So I am curious what he's going to do in the future. I definitely need to see more production value with that. Like, again, I don't know why I keep thinking juggling fire, but we need something more than just that. Because I don't know that that's a completely repeatable act. So, but interesting. I also thought it was cool. He called his mom and dad, and I was like, oh, wow, his mom and pop are still alive? I was like, were they teen parents too? But yeah, no, so he's really cool. I'd like to see his brother more in the act, actually, because his brother looks like he has a lot of great charisma too, and I think they could be a really fun duo together, because just those couple of moments I saw with him interacting were some of the best parts, other than that really nerve-wracking part of him standing on the highest part of the chair, and then hand standing on the highest part of the chair, and then like Simon or somebody said, how's he gonna get down? Like, but yeah, so actually, I guess it worked. I enjoyed it. So then we have Maletto, I think I say it right, from Argentina. They're doing the gaucho stuff, the string on ball stuff. I'm actually kind of familiar with this. We had a one-man act doing a bunch of this out in Secrets one night, and it was really interesting. He did like the whipping the strings through his hair and all that stuff too, whipped a cigarette out of a guy's mouth, so actually it's kind of neat to see these guys. Of course, when they show up and they start saying they're like Magic Mike and they're all greasy and just like, I'm like, oh God, no, I really don't want to like it, Even love that Nick like made the joke when the guy whipped his hair that like the hair juice grease like flew in his eye, I thought that was pretty funny. But look, then they came out and they put on an awesome fucking performance, and there's so much potential for what they could do with a budget and production value and like music behind them and just all that kind of stuff. So they won me over. I liked it. I think they're gonna go far. And I'm kind of anxious to see where it goes from there. I really am. It is also interesting that Heidi's like talking about, oh, I really love your shirts, your outfits, and your shirts being open. And I'm like, double standard? I mean, could a guy say something like that to a woman? It'd be kind of weird, I would think, but someone did. I'll get to that in a second. So I can't really complain, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so they were quite enjoyable. All right, then we have Danny Palumbo, comedian, I say with air quotes, and I'm like, uh-oh, his act is not starting strong. Oh, this is not going well. Oh, yeah. Like, don't quit your day job yet, my man. You may have strong material, but he does not know how to feel the tone of a room or work a room. It was very, very forced. I understand him getting the X's, and he did not respond well. I mean, he didn't get angry, but he didn't like a comedian, like they said, like a comedian should, he didn't play into it. So I was like, oh. And the whole thing I had in the other comedian stand off stage, I'm like, you guys are assholes, producers. That's really like cruel. They're playing a cruel joke in and of themselves. I do think it's funny Heidi, or I guess it was Heidi, it might have been Mel, but knew he was a comedian just by the way he looked. I could kind of agree with that. There was a certain look to him that screams comedian, so, or at least attempted comedian. But maybe he'll improve and try again someday, so we'll see. So then we had another comedian, DJ Demers from Canada. This guy, I was worried about at first because I was like, oh, he's not starting out too strong either, although he had me giggling before he started his act, but he got into it real quick. I was worried he'd play into his disability too much in his comedy, kind of like I thought the stuttering comedian that won last year did, but he didn't. I mean, he played in some, but I think it was an appropriate amount. By the time he got into partner and, his girlfriend broke up with him because he was gay, and I started dying, and then they asked, is he really gay? He's like, no, but my boyfriend is, I'm dying harder. And he's like, no, he's not actually gay, we're both just having a really good time. It's like, what the fuck? And then he's like, I'm from Canada and have hearing problems, that's 2 disabilities. So I'm like, you call being from Canada a disability? I was just dying. So by the end, I was very charmed, I really liked him. Really enjoyed his set, and I'm anxious to see more and see where he goes with it. So, and Simon's right, he's very likable, and that goes a long way. All right, next up we had the 82-year-old retired man, John Hecklinger, the singer. You thought well, look, he's had an amazing life apparently. A Navy pilot, helped repair the Hubble telescope, all that kind of stuff. Discovered karaoke at a very old age. You thought he was gonna sing some classic tunes the way they were setting it up. Like even Simon thought he was gonna sing some Sinatra or something. Fly Me to the Moon, which would have been appropriate. And then he comes out with Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, and you're like, what the fuck? Unfortunately, he's not very good, at least at that song. I don't want to see him at my karaoke. I don't want him to cringe. But still, very charming. I thought he's just doing this for a lark, just for another story in his life of probably a lot of awesome stories, so he might have very interesting memoirs. The thing that surprised me is they let him through. I'm like, wait, what? Because I mean, there's no arguing that he's not. I mean, he's not good. You know what I mean? He was way off rhythm. It's just an odd choice. I mean, it's just a weird juxtaposition of the way he looks and presented himself with what he's saying. But I mean, he's charming as hell. So I don't know. I'm sure he'll probably be getting let go early in this, but Still is kind of fun, and I guess I look forward to seeing at least one more performance from him. Okay, so next up we had 11 play. Dancing and drones and performance art and lighting. Awesome, brilliant. My only complaint, it's a little sparse in this first act, so I'll be very excited to see what they can do when they get a budget and get a little more design element going on. You know, just the lights and the girls, and I don't know, there was something that was a little bit lacking for me, but I see a lot of potential in it, and it is a really cool idea. Obviously from Japan, so, you know, that's kind of fun. Let's see, I'm looking at my notes, sorry about that. Yeah, so I was gonna say that I'd like to see them utilize some projections as well, maybe some rear and front screen. I think you could do some interesting stuff with that. And then they might be giving Hada some actual competition, so that'd be kind of cool. Earlier I said that thing about Heidi talking about the gauchos and the open shirts and everything, but then Howie makes a joke about, you know, geeky nerd tech guys melding with beautiful women. It's perfect. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of inappropriate too. So so it's not a double standard. I guess they played to both sides. I can't really complain too much. Whatever. I'm not going to get all that PC about it anyways. It was just an observation. But I enjoyed that act. Very much looking forward to seeing much more of them. They should go pretty far, I believe. Okay, now we get to the final act. Initially, I'm like, okay, we know they're gonna give them the golden buzzer. They're obviously showing the golden buzzer, so this should be a really good act. Gonna be a singer, it's a little girl. I'm like, it could go really bad. But as they start getting into it, I'm like, you know, she reminds me like she should be having a story of her life and her family, her sister and stuff as like a quirky indie film. And I thought, okay, you know, I could get behind that idea. And then I started thinking, I hope she's good, because I could see that. And so then she gets up there, she's nervous, but she's still charming, she's playing the room well. And then she starts singing, and I'm like, what the fuck? How does a 12-year-old have that voice? That is an amazing, mature adult voice, and it is fantastic. And then she's doing an original, which takes a lot of courage, because, you know, I mean, selling popular songs is a lot easier than selling something no one's ever heard before. But I tell you what, if that song was on iTunes, I would be buying it right now. I'd buy a whole album of what she's doing, and I would listen to it, because that song was amazing. I was literally actually tearing up at the end. It didn't quite roll down my cheek, but I was tearing up. And then when I had to go get my screen captures for this video, and I got to her, I listened to the whole song again, but even as it started, I started tearing up because it was so good. Great writing, great lyrics, and she's really good with the ukulele, and her voice is amazing. I don't blame Howie for giving her the golden buzzer. I mean, I would have given, I like even Simon's like, he's jealous that Howie gave her the golden buzzer. And I'm sitting there thinking like, she's got a record deal. Even if something goes wrong on this show, even if every performance she does is half as good as that one from here on out, she'll either win or someone is signing her. So hopefully that'll be cool. I'm really looking forward to her getting to do songs with more arrangement too, with like actually having a full band behind her. I think that's the only thing that could have made it any better. But even as it was really good. And I'm just amazed. And then even at the end when she's leaving and she keeps like one piece of the golden confetti and she's like, she'll cherish this forever. I'm like, that just adds to that quirky indie film vibe about them. I'm like, I want to make the awesome quirky indie film about her and her life. But yeah, so Grace VanderWaal, I'm a fan. I'm a super fan already. I'm just totally sold. You're going places, kid. As long as you don't let shit get to your head and, you know, and you don't make any too terrible of choices, which I don't think you will. You look like you and your family all have good heads on your shoulders. So very, very, very exciting stuff. I cannot wait to see more of her all the time. Like I'll just watch hours of her every week if they'll give it to me because, wow, just such an amazing voice, and I really loved that songwriting. So yeah, so there you have it, guys. That was AGT Season 11, Week number 2 auditions. So really, really good. I had to watch it late. I was drinking a little bit, but I didn't go too far with it so I could be clear-minded as I made all my notes and everything. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Really looking forward to more. Hopefully eventually Mike and Mary will be in some of these if we can ever get our timings together. But for now, I don't know if this video is going to come out on time, honestly. I need to get going in about 20 minutes. I don't think I can get this video done in 20 minutes. But anyways, guys, comment. What did you think? Did you like this episode? Were you excited about it? How excited are you for all these acts? Who was your favorites? Who were your least favorites? Let's talk in the comments. Thumbs up of encouragement if you want to encourage me to keep doing more. I'm going to do it anyways, but it's always nice to be encouraged. And subscribe if you're new, because we do all kinds of cool-ass geeky stuff here every single day. Usually 3 videos a day, unless internet gives me trouble. And share with your friends so we can all party and geek out and nerd out together. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here and do some work. I'll see y'all later.